What's up, everybody? Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! It's Christmas, it's Christmas, 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 Christmas. Hey guys, how are we all doing? Doctor Who Season 2? Question mark? Joy to the World is coming out very soon, actually. Just about an hour away, if not a little less. But right now, I am recording my thoughts pre-watching the episode. These are my thoughts before I have seen it. In just a second, I'm going to cut ahead to my thoughts right after the episode. But right now, let me talk about what my thoughts and expectations are going in to the story. Positive. Very positive. Because A, I'm in a good mood already. And B, I really like the show right now. As you guys know, if you are a DW Fan 91 head, I was very positive on Season 1, Series 14. And I'm probably the only person on YouTube who actually kind of liked Empire of Death. You know what? I did like it. I like it. Christmas cheer. I love Ncuti Gatwa. I love the 15th Doctor. And the kid is back in town. Stephen Bartholomew Moffat. The kid is back. He's back at it again for another round. For round 2. Round 3. I love him. You guys know I love him. And the concept for the episode, I mean, it sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good to me. I'm expecting rambunctious. I'm expecting daring. I'm expecting shocking, sad, funny. Everything. But above all, I'm expecting a good time. Don't let me down, Doctor Who. I just want a fun episode for Christmas, a nice tease for Season 2, and then for us to all just chill, cruise, smooth sail right into 2025. Don't forget, guys, to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, I am doing another community reaction video where I pick your guys' comments and give my thoughts on them. So if you want to be included, don't hesitate. This is by far and away my favorite series on this channel. It keeps me in touch with all of you guys, keeps me in touch with the community, and boom, big reveal, I'm going to be revamping the format. Yes, you guys will see what I mean when it comes out, but I'm going to be switching up how I do it this time in a way that I think is going to be really enjoyable. I'm really excited to make this video, so stay tuned for that. I hope you all enjoy it. So yeah, don't forget to leave your thoughts below, leave a like. You guys know how it is. And also to all of you guys on the Patreon, because it is Christmas and I'm chilling with my family, I sadly cannot upload the live reaction to this one because I can't record because I'm watching it with them. To everyone else, if you do want to support the channel, which I mean, even watching the videos is way more than enough, but you can head over there and you can see all of my previous live reactions to every other episode of this new era, apart from, of course, last year's Christmas special, and I think that's about everything. Sorry for the rushed intro, guys. I'm just aching. I'm aching to get into the story. So I'm gonna head down and watch, and I'm gonna see you guys on the other side. See ya. Okay, well, that's another Doctor Who episode done, another year of Doctor Who, another Christmas special passed. What did I think? Again, I'm very sorry to the patrons that my live reaction cannot be uploaded, because again, I didn't record it because I watched this one with my family. But I feel like, you know, Christmas time, you guys can give pass. Every single other episode, apart from last year's The Church and Ruby Road, is or shall be uploaded to the Patreon. Everything is also available for members. Enough of the fucking shilling, man. Let's just talk about the episode. What am I doing? So yeah, I liked it. I think it was good. I think it was good. I don't think it was very good, and I think that there were a few small parts that kind of let it down, especially towards the end. Not the parts that are gonna attract the headlines. Immediately, spoilers, this episode is nothing like how I expected it to be, and I'm sure no one else predicted it to be like this. The star of this episode, far and away, is actually Anita. Nicola Coughlan kind of gets nothing. She's kind of doing nothing in this episode. She's not even really the companion. Anita is the companion, and she's amazing. I'm kind of glad for this bait and switch. I'm not a Nicola Coughlan hater. In fact, I saw her in Graham Norton and I found her incredibly funny, but she has less screen time than Anita, and Anita's just a more developed and interesting character. I feel like she also gets a better resolution, so I just think far and away she's much better. My problem with the episode isn't that, and in fact I think that's a massive pro, but I do think that the resolution to this episode has a few issues. The one thing which I do not have an issue with is the much speculated Star of Bethlehem, Bethlehem Three Wise Men thing connection. They were teasing it throughout the whole episode. People predicted it from the very start, and of course that's how it ended. I actually think that image at the end is really good, even though they probably don't need the Bethlehem 001. They probably didn't need that. It doesn't take anything away from the moment. It just doesn't add anything either. That's a tiny little piece of constructive criticism. I don't think that is actually a bad thing at all, and I think it's a rather eye-catching end, and it will get a bunch of headlines and people will pretend to be offended at it. And it was also foreshadowed throughout. I don't think there's any real problem with that. My main issue does come from the handling of the character of Joy and her end. Now, this is probably going to be a controversial video for me because the episode naturally deals with touching controversial topics. I, for one, now I was watching the episode with someone who wasn't really a fan of how they handled the complex issues involving, let's just say, the plague. Personally, I found myself rather traumatized by that part in in human history. It's going to go down in history and we're going to be talking about it for decades upon decades. And I don't think I'm alone. Our whole generation has been inflicted with it, and we're only really going to see the consequences in about 10, 20, 30 years. And so I think that there is a benefit in talking about it. And I also think that I'm pretty sure this is the first piece of media that I've ever seen that is talking about it. And I can understand that some people might see it as a little bit disrespectful or a little bit clumsy. And I'm willing to give it leeway because it has only been about 2 or 3 years. And I think our episodes of Doctor Who, they do deserve to be able to tackle that subject matter and talk about what's really affecting the minds of people. I mean, it hasn't really left my mind, not really. I mean, maybe it's left my conscious mind, but my unconscious mind, I'm still dealing with the after effects of it. And I'm pretty sure I can say for everyone, most people are. And so I think, write what you know. You're writing a story about it. Those themes are deeply baked into it. And I personally, I know this is going to be controversial, I personally find myself agreeing 100% with the implications of everything that is in the story. Personally, this is kind of how I feel. So that element of the story that's going to be controversial, and I'm sure there's going to be thousands of people writing dissertations about how it's problematic and blah, blah, blah. For me, I know controversial state, it actually just hit the nail completely on the head. The struggles that the character of Joy was going through was really relatable to me. And I agree with the overview there. I agree with what the story is saying. And I actually think that's one of the stronger parts of it. And then it kind of drops the ball with the ending, which again, it's very delicate and they're testing new things out. Again, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. I understand some audiences might not be quite as forgiving. But anyway, I'm skipping ahead. Basically, what happens is Joy's mum died in hospital and they had to do a virtual last meet, which is the case for probably hundreds of thousands of people across the nation. And it really sits with you because it's a horrible fucking thing. And not to get all political, as they say in the episode, those in charge literally were having parties. Again, I don't really want to go political because it's Christmas and I've had a hearty meal, so my speech will get ahead of me and I'll start cursing at people and blah, 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 blah. Who the fuck cares? And this video isn't the space for that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I agree 100% and it's kind of how I feel. I don't think it's necessarily insulting Joy for following the regulations, but it's also, it's interesting. Again, these are the real controversial elements of the episode, the really raw and rough ones. I know it's taken up a lot of the conversation so far, but that's because it's fresh after watching. And I think up to a certain point, I do agree with very much a lot of what this episode is trying to say when it tackles that topic. But the very end lets it down with a very strange resolution, which tries to turn something that's inherently tragic into something joyful. The soundtrack just doesn't fit with what's going on. The Doctor's reactions just don't fit with what's going on. The Joy turning into a star, all these people turning into a star, is played off as if it is a good thing, when in reality I think it's deeply troubling. I think it's awful. I think it's horrific. I think it's horrendous. I think it's evil. It's an evil thing that happens that's played as happy. And I will go over that in a little bit. I'll talk about the ending at the end. Let's zip all the way back to the beginning. This episode, we saw the opening titles. I personally believe it's a brilliant way to start an episode. Rush, different location. Does really remind me of Flux. The soundtrack booming, the Doctor running around. And then after the pre-title sequences, which I won't really go super into detail with because we have already talked about that sequence at length, we cut back to the Doctor in the Time Hotel meeting this guy called Trev, who was another highlight of the episode. I thought he was really funny. I don't really know who the actor is, but he seems really cool. Very funny, very endearing character. He sadly dies, and then they kind of play that death as if it's a good thing, and again, that kind of leads to the strange things that happen towards the end. I like the bit where the Doctor is unconsciously putting his coat on and getting his new sonic screwdriver, which I think looks really cool with the red. I also really like the dressing gown, and I almost wish he stayed in it more, though that's obviously a tiny little thing. But it does kind of show that the plot needs a bit of a exterior jump start, if that makes sense. It doesn't naturally start. It starts for reasons that even the Doctor doesn't know. He just notices something and then it happens, which, I mean, I suppose that's fair, but also an inciting incident could have happened to, incite the story. However, wave that aside, the sequence where Trev is brought into the Doctor's undercover plan is great. The Doctor going around is all great. The episode itself is chugging along normal. It's not really doing anything outstanding except for the amazing direction and design of the Time Hotel. The Time Hotel itself is a brilliant idea. I love it, and it kind of is enough to carry the episode in general, I feel. But anyway, everything's chugging along until we return back to the sequence at the beginning, which is where I feel the story really begins. Joy is an interesting enough character and she gets some nice banter, but I really do think it is with Anita, even in that first scene where I was kind of wondering, like, why is she hanging around so long? I do think she steals the show and is just more interesting than the titular character. There is a great scene where they open the briefcase and they have to figure out what exactly is going on. They've got to figure out the code. The future Doctor comes in. All of that is brilliant. And then we get on to the highlight of the episode, in my opinion, the year-long wait. This is an immaculate sequence. I genuinely think it's perfect. It's a complete curveball. You don't expect it. It's kind of like 73 yards in a way. It shows the Doctor getting along with everyday life. He handles it a lot better than, say, the 11th Doctor would. And he ends up getting really close to Anita in a kind of human way, in a more human way than what you'd expect. I mean, you wouldn't really expect this to be something that the Doctor does, but at the same time, Ncuti Gatwa's performance is so lively and magical that you just believe it. And this relationship blooms so naturally. They've just got instant chemistry and they're so funny and witty together, and she's so nice and caring and he really cares about her, and it's a truly tragic, bittersweet, well, you know he's gonna have to leave at some point, and they get really close because of course she would. I mean, I understand there might be some people saying, oh, why would you just let this guy come in and why is she so willing to go along with it? Well, I think it's because he's a Doctor and he looks like Ncuti Gatwa. That's why I think. I mean, you just would, wouldn't you? You'd roll with the punches. I think it really, really works. All of that stuff, by far and away, best part of the episode in my opinion. People are going to complain about it because it's unorthodox. I love that it's unorthodox. I love that things aren't as they have been predicted. I love that this episode completely flips everything that was in the marketing on its head. I love when a story can surprise me, especially when there was a 5-minute segment of it released 6 months ago. I do not want it to go as I thought it would. So I love, love, love this sequence, and I love how it ties in to what we saw before. After that, everything starts coming together. Everest, the Orient Express, World War II doesn't really come into it unless I miss something, but all of these disparate elements start coming together to form one cohesive whole, and it's all very funny, very action-packed, lots of funny lines, some lines that aren't so funny, but you know, it's Stephen Moffat at Christmas, you can't win them all. And again, everything is kind of going on as it would until the very end sequence where Joy becomes one with the star against a terrible green screen that looks like pure crap, especially when compared to the beautiful rest of the episode. The rest of the episode looks immaculate and that ending sequence looks tacky. I'm sorry, it just does. But maybe the reason I'm less forgiving about it is because everything from what the characters say to what the music is telling me just doesn't make sense. Now, okay, I need to zoom back a bit to tell you more what the plot is at this point. There's a suitcase, it is hijacking people's bodies and then killing them. It is powered by Villain Guard, who we know are evil. The Big V, does anyone think that the Big V is like an X? The Doctor says villains love logos. Wonder what Stephen Moffat's saying there. Don't worry, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Also, add another tally on the virtual afterlife Stephen Moffat counter. What are we on, 6 at this point? But anyway. It is implied that these people are happy to have been hijacked. And not only that they are happy, that it is good that they are hijacked so that they could give birth to this star that will go on to power the villain's weapons. So let me get this clear. All of these people who are all happy and young and about to go on wonderful lives are hijacked by an evil villain. Literally, their minds and bodies are taken over. They are then killed and then trapped in the machine for 65 million years. And then Joy, who is mind controlled, by the way, becomes possessed by it, and it is implied to be a good thing because a star is being born, even though that star will go on to power horrible weapons and wars throughout the cosmos. And it's good because Joy is taking it far away so that it isn't going to kill anyone. Well, spoiler alert, people have already died. Now, I understand there is kind of a moral aspect to it where it's like, well, some people have died, but they're saving the lives of billions, if not trillions, over the course of Earth's lifespan. But my response to that would be the Doctor cares about an individual's life almost just as much. He should be trying to save Joy until the very last second. I also disagree with the fact that Joy's late mother becomes one with the star. Not only does it not make sense, I think that it is silly to imply that Joy is better better off with her dead mom in a star than she would be just living her life. I don't agree with that part, not at all. I don't think even her mom would want that. I don't think even she wants that. The character of Joy never gets a resolution. She barely gets much screen time. And if you consider the screen time where she's possessed, what is that, like 5 minutes in total? If that? Again, maybe this is the marketing clouding my brain, but it feels like a character who was credited in the main titles is introduced, has no arc, and then dies. And that's it. Also, Ruby Sunday is in there with the worst haircut of all time. I'm sorry. Millie Gibson, she's a beautiful woman. That haircut is abysmal.
I'll be crying if I look like that too, bro. That's fucked up what they be doing to y'all. I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. I be saying that's fucked up. Like, bro, you probably had the full washing set. Your shit be fire probably if they ain't cut your shit. Fuck it though, bro. It's your life.
She literally looks like a pencil. I don't really know why she was also the main billing on the credits. Am I missing something? That's a nitpick. The ending sequence speech kind of gets lost in translation for me. It kind of reminds me of the Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe in a way, where I'm just kind of left scratching my head and thinking, what? But I think overall, putting that aside, the rest of the episode, even the parts where it tackles rather controversial topics, as I said, I did want something daring from this episode, I think it plays it off pretty well. It's definitely going to be a very rewatchable episode. There are so many funny lines. As I said, there are a handful that I wouldn't consider funny. I mean, not like necessarily painfully unfunny, but ones that I think are just dead air. You know, not every gag can be a winner, and some of them should be left on the cutting room floor. I think the kind of like, oh, the Doctor's king of mansplaining thing, that was the main one where I was like, A, why would the Doctor even say that? And B, it's just not true. I will say though, despite the amazing Anita subplot, this is more or less what I would expect from a Steven Moffat Christmas special. So I would say this is Steven Moffat's third best Christmas special. It has some very high highs, it has a few low lows. I think I'm definitely gonna have to give this one a few rewatches to feel where I stand, as it were. Oh god, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, which is a shame because there are so many great parts. I think I'm going to give this one a 6/7 out of 10, leaning more to a 7. Very enjoyable episode. Shootigawa is amazing. I love Steven Moffat. I think some parts of this episode are outstanding. I think some parts needed a little bit more time in the oven, but I think I'm gonna have to give it a few more rewatches to see where I feel. 7 out of 10, asterisks, subject to change. Do not forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm gonna be doing a community reaction video. I'm gonna be including comments. By then, I would have watched the episode fully. My thoughts would have cemented. This has been a crazy, massive rant, kind of. I loved it, I hated it, it's messy, and I hope you still managed to enjoy the video. The community reaction will be in a different format. Hopefully I will be able to get out a more cohesive, fully formed review. This is my initial reaction after all. I hope you guys enjoyed my other video that I released a few days ago as my Christmas treat. That was really fun to work on, and as always, I want to give a massive shout out to everyone on the Patreon, everyone on the Discord. You guys are spectacular. You keep this show going. I would not be able to do YouTube without you guys, and I'm probably gonna hop in VC with you right after filming this. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.